Top of it. Look, on this video, I want to discuss why it's so important for you to stay focused on your own journey, your own path in life, and not get sidetracked with what everybody else has going on. Even though I know it's so easy to get distracted and to always compare what everybody else is doing. You see, we got to constantly remind ourselves, I know I do, with the fact that nobody else has lived your life exactly how you've lived it. It doesn't matter. You can be twins with somebody, live in the same house, have the same parents. You could even have similar interests. But you still, no matter what, will never have the same exact path as anybody else ever in history, right? And that's what makes you unique. And your journey is super unique. And we got to remember that, man, because we can get lost in the sauce out here of comparing and just thinking that we're not making it in the time we want to make it. And that can have us really frustrated and feeling negative about where we are in our journey. But you got to remember, man, nobody's doing what you do exactly to the T, right? Nobody grew up exactly where you grew up, born where you were born, have the same parents, and decided to take the career that you took, have the exact grades in school you had. You get what I'm saying? So when we consider all these things, man, it's easy to remember, hey, I'm good. This is a whole new story. This is a brand new story, a new book that's never been written. And I'm the author and the narrator, and I get to decide the characters that are in it, and I get to decide the path I'm gonna take and the direction that this thing is gonna go towards. And when you remember that, man, it just frees you up from all this comparing to other people. And you realize what a waste of time and energy it is. Because the people you're comparing to, they have a whole entire different story than you, with all kinds of different circumstances. You don't know what they've been through, what skeletons they have in their closet. All right. And so this is a freeing feeling to have, to know that nobody's been where you've been. Nobody's done what you've done to the T. Nobody has the ideas you have or have, done what you've done. So we got to constantly remind ourselves in this world where social media it's almost like our way of socializing. Unfortunately, even though it's not really socializing, it's more of a checking and just looking. It's more of a just looking from the bleachers. Unless you're, I guess, producing on here, you're making content, but even that, you're still kind of comparing to similar content creators, and you want to make sure you're doing things the right way. You're trying to get ideas and brainstorm. But man, nobody is you, right? Nobody would do things the way you would do it. And that's where we get caught up. We underestimate ourselves. A lot of us tend to underestimate our value and our uniqueness. And when you do that, you're kind of downplaying yourself tremendously. And I would go as far as to say you're slapping God in the face, because God gave you a unique thumbprint, a fingerprint that nobody else has, and you're over here trying to portray somebody else and trying to mimic some other person. But I'm gonna tell you some real stuff, man. You can try to be like somebody else, you can try to mimic whoever, but no matter how hard you try to mimic someone else and try to duplicate their blueprint of what's working for them, no matter how hard you try, you can never, ever be them. You might have some similarities. You might have, a little flash of, oh, that worked for them, that worked for me. It kind of works, but it's never going to be fully that of what worked for them. It's never going to be 100% that. You understand what I'm saying? And so you're just really boxing yourself into a pigeonhole that you really can never get out of. And now you're stuck. You know, I remember like trying to learn game and how to spit game and talk to women from some OGs. And, you know, he would say, one of my OGs would say, you know, I can tell you what to say and how to say it, but that's not going to do you any good, because if you say what I say in that moment, you still have to keep talking to the chick. And you're not going to know what I would say after that. And you wouldn't know what to say after that, and then after that, and continue. You wouldn't know because you don't have my brain. You get what I'm saying? So you got to cut out trying to be like others. It's just going to play your own self. You're going to get lost, and now you're not going to know what to do next, because you're operating from someone else's perspective, which you can never know how they would do things. You would never be able to be in someone else's shoes. You're still in your feet and your body and your mind and your soul. So ultimately what it comes down to is having faith in your path and your uniqueness and everything you have to offer, the value that you bring to the marketplace. It's tremendous. Don't underestimate the value that you offer, because it's a lot of value. You might have to dig deep and think about it, right? But that's what life is about. It's figuring out what is it about us that we have to bring to the table. What are our gifts that we have to bring to the world? And not very many people, well, I'd say most people don't ever take time to dig deep and figure that out. Most people are just going with the flow and going with whatever the world hands them. And that's just not the way to do it, because you're going to waste your whole life. And then eventually you're going to be old and you're going to be like, man, I never really went for it. I was always operating from someone else's blueprint versus taking the time to figure out my blueprint so I can have somebody else that looks up to me and says, man, I'm going to do what they do. You know, it's a beautiful position to be in. So it might not be beautiful at first. It might bump your head and, you know, mess some things up. But that's what comes with trying new things. I mean, you know, you got to give it a shot. So I recommend you taking time to figure out who you are. It's really about knowledge of self. You got to know who you are first and know what's unique about you. Take time to write down things about you that others would find interesting, and the skills you have, your interests, etc., and figure it out. That's your homework assignment for life. Except for it's not an overnight thing. It's a lifetime thing until you decide to figure it all the way out. And now you're operating from a place where nobody else can operate from. And you have no competition from there. You see? It's a beautiful thing. And me personally, I'm figuring it out too, man. Trust me, I've been there where I'm trying to do my best, and I'm comparing. I'm trying to do, damn, what's working for him? Let me try a little bit of this and a little bit of what that guy's doing, and, you know, mix and match until eventually you realize, man, I don't want none of this. Let me start all the way over and do what I want to do in the way I want to do it, with my fingerprint on it. My DNA is in there. You understand? And from there, it's like a playground. You're like a kid in the playground. Every single day, you're constantly learning new ways to do things in your way, with your flair, your flavor on it. You know, your uniqueness that nobody else has done. Because it's from your idea, your mind came up with that. You understand what I'm saying? I hope this helps you guys and gives you that freedom to really be yourself and trust your path and your journey. It's unique. Nobody's done it. You have your own book to write. Believe everybody has a book, but not everybody wants to write it. Not everybody feels confident about their story. But there's something about your life that you have to offer, man, to the marketplace, that the world needs what you have. But you just got to figure out what that is. That's your job. That's your homework assignment. So figure it out. Get on it. Stop being lazy. Take time to contemplate and ask yourself those hard questions. You dig? All right? But I hope that helps, man. I appreciate y'all watching. Leave a like. It's free. Comment. Let me know what you think below and share the video, man. And I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.